Ladies and gents, another one of those videos popped up. This thing is still going on. This is by the channel AI Telly. I've watched video from this channel in the past. And another video about sonic boom or secret weapon on Venezuela on the Venezuela raid. Now, I watched Cappy's video, and other videos as well, who talked about sonic weapons. I know about the account of the soldier said like, it was nothing like he ever saw. Cappy said it could be a flashbang, which is like, I don't like that. That's not spicy enough for me. I'm gonna go with the super weapon. I hope AI Telly talks about some. Look at that. Look at the graph there. AI Telly is a channel who basically creates these animated animations of different things, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. He's probably gonna put picture and like plan where the soldiers were, how they could have used it. Maybe it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch one.
During the raid in Venezuela, according to witnesses on the ground, the operation began with an unexplained radar blackout, followed massive drone swarm and the sounds of helicopters.
There is no unexplained about radar blackouts. They do that. They have a weapon that basically blacks out all radars, right? Overwhelming thing.
Despite being outnumbered 5-1, the small U.S. Special Forces team faced less resistance. Why?
This is so good. See, I told you, he's going to make graphing animations. This is what the guy said. Like the Delta forces walked up and everybody was vomiting, collapsed, blood was coming out of the nose. This is straight out of X-Files. This is insanity. Scully, this is just basically that shit. If this actually happened, which the opposition side is saying it. I mean, there must be truth to it. This is some next level shit. Which means USA can literally go any place, China, even Russia, and they're like, okay, we'll put up resistance. Let's throw a weapon at you. They can't even probably comprehend. I think they can literally do this with any country. That's insane.
Reports indicate soldiers suffered from vertigo, vomiting, and internal bleeding. Military analysts believe this was a soft kill operation, likely utilizing a high-power microwave device. More detail all in the video ahead. Based on witness testimony, here's how the event likely occurred. Venezuelan soldiers were on standard guard duty when their radar systems suddenly shut down without...
20 hertz? Okay, I might be stupid here. I'm usually very scientifically literate, but I might be stupid. But isn't 20 hertz like subwoofer frequency? The lowest subwoofer I have goes to 18 and 20 hertz. Basically rumbles the whole place. I'm pretty sure, right?
Warning. Immediately after the blackout, a massive drone swarm appeared over the facility, followed by 8 helicopters equipped with unidentified technology. A 20-man team of Delta and Special Forces operatives deployed from the helicopters. The encounter took a mysterious turn when the defending force of 100 soldiers reportedly froze, leaving them unable to compete with a smaller elite team. Witnesses noted that the Delta Force operatives fired with impossible precision, estimating a rate of fire near 300 rounds per minute per soldier. It is theorized that Black Hawk helicopters were used to deploy this capability, utilizing disc-shaped radar attachments to launch a directed beam at the opposing troops. They reported
disc shape? So they actually saw some disc-shaped thing on a helicopter that shouldn't be there. I mean, this is way too much in detail. This is not just like, oh, it could have been a flashbang. They're literally saying that there's disc-shaped thing on a helicopter.
Internal trauma. They suffered immediate vestibular incapacitation, meaning a total loss of balance and paralysis. Some even reported bleeding from the nose and vomiting blood, symptoms consistent with internal hemorrhaging. While the Pentagon hasn't officially disclosed the specific hardware, military experts often call this a soft kill system. So how does it actually work? To understand the weapon, you first have to look at what it did. The most likely candidate for a weapon that creates that kind of internal pressure without external sound is a high-power microwave device. It relies on something called the Frey effect. The weapon probably carried by a Chinook.
This is probably going to be different frequency of microwave than the microwaves, I'm going to guess, right? Microwave ovens. They're not going to use something that boils their blood or some shit, because I'm pretty sure Geneva Convention would enter the chat. Even if it didn't, it probably will. Maybe, I mean, like Fatrition says it's never wartime the first time we do it. So I don't know, this could be one of those things where like people are like, okay, let's calm down here. Geneva Convention. But it's not right now, so yeah, there you go. Super weapon.
or a Black Hawk helicopter fires a focused beam of pulsed microwave energy, not sound waves, that passes right through the skull.
Nope.
These beams are absorbed by the water in the brain tissue and the fluid in the inner ear. This energy causes a minuscule rapid heating of the tissue, less than 1 degree Celsius.
So it is like the microwave. What the fuck? Microwave oven heats up the water vapors and shit.
But that tiny sudden expansion generates a pressure wave inside the skull.
Killing them? Isn't this deadly?
The consequence? The target hears a sound, clicks, buzzing, or a roar that originates inside their own head, bypassing the eardrums entirely. If the frequency is tuned to the resonance of the inner ear, it violently disrupts the body's balance, causing immediate vertigo. At higher power levels, that rapid tissue expansion can rupture capillaries, leading to the reported nosebleeds and internal trauma. There is another possibility, a weaponized infrasonic pulse emitter. Instead of a continuous beam, this device would fire high-intensity slugs of low-frequency air pressure below 20 Hz. These waves travel through the body to match the resonant frequency of internal organs like the stomach or lungs.
This to me feels like too imprecise to work. The first one maybe. Even the first one feels like Geneva Convention will jump to that shit. That's how it feels like. Second one feels like it's too imprecise. Would that work the way they want? 20 hertz, like, I don't know, man. That low of a frequency, wouldn't the obstacles like walls be a problem? High frequency just tear through shit. Low frequency, I don't know.
High-intensity infrasound can actually cause cavitation, the formation of bubbles in bodily fluids. When those bubbles collapse, they create tiny shock waves that damage tissue. The target feels an intense vibration in their gut, leading to severe nausea and effectively paralyzing them with pain and sickness.
Shitting themselves? Yeah, that would happen, right?
Tactically, the reports suggest U.S. forces use this technology as the ultimate force multiplier. The result was that the hundreds of Venezuelan guards mentioned in the reports weren't fought in a traditional gun battle. They were incapacitated, sick, dizzy, and bleeding, long before U.S. troops made contact. This allowed a small team of approximately 20 operators to walk virtually unopposed through a much larger force. But that's not it. The U.S. military has another secret weapon.
Yeah, that one. Electronic warfare, disabling all radars. The first one I was more interested in about... This is X-Files. I don't know how many times do I have to say this. This is fucking X-Files. For years, Call of Duty, all the video games, all the movies. Oh, we need to be tactical. We need to be quick. We need to shoot. How about none of that shit? How about disable them with a sonic weapon? Welcome to alien technology. We won't have to do anything. Just walk ourselves in. No casualties. Don't have to worry about getting gunshot because everybody collapsed. This is some next level shit, man.
Analysts called it the Iron Dome of the Caribbean. They said the airspace over Venezuela was impenetrable, locked down by the Russian-made S-300 anti-system, a beast capable of swatting aircraft out of the sky from 150 miles away.
Come on, man. Come on, S-300, really? There are many countries I can just think of top of my head would just cross S-300. USA, really? That was never an issue.
But in the dark night, the myth of invincibility didn't just crack. It evaporated. The opening salvo didn't come from pilots, but from physics. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford, stationed off the coast, unleashed a barrage of electronic warfare so dense it didn't just jam the Venezuelan radar screens, it burned them white.
Yeah, there you go. So this is a sophisticated way they did it. They could have done it with missiles. Fucking destroy every single radar and every single S-300 system, which I can think of many countries that can do that. Only USA can do this, probably, as far as I know. Just like overwhelm the systems, right? Making it pitch black, seeing ghosting effect and all that.
The S-300 operators at Captain Manuel Rios Air Base were blind before they ever saw the missiles coming. The first kinetic strikes were surgical from a destroyer. 2 Tomahawk cruise missiles slammed into the S-300VM radar arrays. In an instant, the eyes of the Venezuelan defense network were turned into twisted, red-hot scrap metal. Precision-guided bombs walked down the flight line. One by one, the Su-30s and the aging X-16s parked beside them were engulfed in fireballs. 7 jets were erased before their pilots...
Give it credit, F-16, even though aging, is still decent, right? I mean, not against America, that would be stupid, but it's still decent.
Pilots could even reach the ladders. It wasn't a dogfight, it was an execution. But the final blow was psychological. At 4:20, the roar of jet engines shook the windows of downtown Caracas. The target was Fortuna, the headquarters of the Ministry of Defense and the nerve center of the regime's military command. The strikes didn't level the city, they decapitated the leadership's ability to communicate. As smoke billowed from the ministry buildings, the message was clear to every commander on the ground: you are alone. You are alone and that no help is coming. But all of this is just a deception. The main target is none other than the president. We finally have the declassified timeline of how U.S. forces breached the heart of Caracas and extracted Nicolás Maduro. Let's start with step 1. The setup. This didn't happen overnight. For months, the U.S. had been tightening a naval quarantine.
Yeah, how much you wanna bet that Trump actually went to Maduro unofficially and started to dance in front of him? Dance now, man. What happened? Why are you in chains? Dance now. I bet he did that. I bet he did that.
Around Venezuela. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group and the U.S. Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group were parked off the coast. The pretext was clear. The U.S. designated the Venezuelan government a narco-terrorist state, specifically targeting the drugs lords, but while the Navy squeezed the coast, intelligence assets were tracking one man. They waited for a specific window, a moment where Maduro was stationary and vulnerable. Step 2. The strike. It began at exactly 2 in the morning Venezuelan Standard Time. High above, several F-35 stealth fighters punch a hole through the enemy lines, destabilizing their anti-air defenses. Like these Russian S-300 missiles located all over the strategic high-value target. With the skies cleared, the path opens for Delta Force helicopters to fly straight towards the mission. Here comes the deception as the helicopters flew. The jets started firing with more strikes as it hit Fort Tuna, the main military base and command center, and La Carlota Air Base, destabilizing Venezuelan air support. Reports from the ground describe widespread explosions and a sudden communications blackout. The chaos wasn't the goal, it was the cover. But how did the raid happen? We have to look at step 3. Under the cover of darkness and chaos, the Tier 1 operators went to work. But what is the exact unit tasked with the mission? It is the Delta Force, one of the most elite secretive special forces units in the U.S. military. Witnesses in Caracas reported low-flying aircraft skimming the rooftops, flying well below radar coverage. The team breached a secure compound believed to be a safe house within the massive Fort Tuna complex. Resistance from the Venezuelan Presidential Guard was swift but ultimately futile, as the helicopters lay cover fire. The operators moved with surgical speed, landing on multiple points. But how exactly the capture and extraction happened? For this, let's look at step 4. Specialized helicopters hovered over the objective to insert the assault team. While dozens of attack helicopters laid down suppression fire, the Delta Special Forces descended and started the search for the high-value targets. How did they find him? Simple. The CIA had planted spy inside Nicolás Maduro close circle. While back in the U.S., Delta Force built an exact replica of his safe house, rehearsing the raid until they could do it blindfolded. While operators breached the room so fast, his security could not even react to the situation.
Yeah, probably his wife was CIA agent. How would they just do that fast? Like, that's the bedroom. I know because I'm always there. Get that asshole. I think that's what happened. Yeah, he screamed at me once. Enter your domestic problems just right here. There you go. That's the reason for it to turn.
As the sound of flash grenades disoriented the security guard. Using blowtorch, they caught him before he could even lock all the doors. Maduro's shock and awe froze him as Delta Force breached the compound. Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia
If I were one of those Delta Forces, I mean, I'm not Delta Force, obviously, and I would think differently if I were Delta Force, just by training alone. But I would just say, that means surprise, motherfucker, as soon as I open the door.
Floors were physically secured. This wasn't a negotiation. They were detained and immediately moved to the extraction point. These aircraft are capable of performing urban extractions from buildings and refueling in midair. We make original 4K 3D animation with a small team of animators. So please support us by subscribing and dropping in a comment.
Yeah, well, go to original video page link and support this channel. It's a very good channel. Like I said, he's gonna show us all the animation and graph, like detail, like a plan view. Yeah, he did. That was awesome. So yeah, people did watch the radar disc level thing on a helicopter. There must be some weapon. No way this is just like soldiers amplifying shit. It was just a flashbang. I don't believe that. No soldier is that weak. they would not just be, unless it's a civilian. Yeah, they were literally soldiers at some level. So it can't be just flashbang. Everybody can't just start puking and bleeding because of a flashbang. That's not how flashbangs work. Even if a civilian got hit, they will be nauseated, but this is just too much. So it must be some kind of weapon. USA, this is literally the top military on the planet. They're using technology that people can't even comprehend. And they didn't even use the best technology they have, probably. They just, oh, well, everybody just, what should we use? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, sonic weapon. That's what they did, probably. This is insanity. Alright, well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want me to do any specific reaction, comment down. And yeah, I'll see you next time.